Alright, it is day 9, I want to
Nine,
say?
yeah.
Yeah. I don't have the physical stuff.
So far, okay. Just general old man aches and pains, but nothing,
My bones.
nothing,
My
nothing,
old man bones.
nothing vaccine related. How about,
Yeah.
how about yourself? How you feel the day after your maiden voyage of boxing? How you feeling?
It's, and I'm still, sore. Because, oh, it's a full body thing, man.
But you're up and walking around, so you're not like debilitated, which is good.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, like I said the other day, I think you put yourself in a decent position with some exercise you've been doing and stuff. It's,
Yeah.
Starting from zero. So I know if I took boxing, I wouldn't lift anything heavier than a fork for probably 3 days or something. But no, you seem like you're doing well.
And today a 600. I'm just looking at the punches.
Holy hell, 600 sounds like a lot.
And, I'm, I'm, I mean, time-wise, it's not like a ton, because, I mean, it's, it's under a second, just for each, but it's, that's a good amount.
600 of anything is snapping your fingers 600 times is tough. I meant to ask you, is there stuff you're like supposed to do between now and
Oh,
next
no,
class,
no.
or you're just doing this to keep up yourself?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's interesting.
yeah, yeah, I guess there's, yeah. I have 6 types, and so, I do, just like a sets of 10,
Uh huh.
and then, and then after I've done about, 50 of each,
Uh-huh.
and then take a break, and then I do, just the other half.
That sounds very reasonable. It sounds like a lot of work, though. But I don't. It's probably good though to keep your conditioning up.
It was like a 20 minutes or so, actually. It was,
Wow.
yeah. And I was watching, I King of the Hill,
Oh my.
just as I did, and
Sure.
and I was done,
Time flies.
just before the episode was over.
And you were saying yesterday.
That's a good show, man.
You were saying yesterday that one of the things you worked on was your stance. Were you able to,
Yeah, the
were
stance.
you keeping your stance while you're practicing? Like, is that?
I think I was, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's a lot to organize.
It's not like super tough. I feel I get the effects, yeah, but it's not like I just like super rigorous, I'd say.
I've noticed that when you like do like physical activity when you're practicing or something like that, you seem to make the time go. You like watch things, right?
Yeah, yeah,
More so than listen to things.
yeah. It's a quantifiable thing,
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah, when you and your brother were younger, that's how we used to measure time for you guys. Like, how long? It'll be like, well, it'll be like 2 octonauts.
Oh, that was a great show.
It's like you'd measure it in like a 15-minute increments.
The show was perfect, man.
Octonauts is pretty darn good. Pretty darn good.
No, yeah.
I don't think it didn't ever, that I remember, it never really rounded the corner and turned bad. It just, I stopped being able to find it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they quit making them or if it just quit showing up on our particular cable or something like that, but I always appreciated how legit they were with the wildlife stuff.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And not just like, oh, look, here's this cool animal, but like they actually incorporated the animal's like actual behaviors. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Like in the plot, showed a lot of thoughtfulness.
Oh, in the end, I'll just go segment, or there's actual, I'll just go facts, and just go photos about it.
That was always
great stuff,
really
man.
fantastic because, you'd meet some weird creature in the episode. Like I can't imagine what this thing actually looks like in real life, But then at the end of the episode, there's a payoff. You're like, holy shit, it really looks like that.
Whoa, dude, that's insane.
Like the fish with the transparent skull and the glowing
Man.
nodes and things. You're like, surely they're making this up.
Oh, the comb jellies.
You see the footage,
I love
like,
comb
dang,
jellies, man.
It really looks like that.
Yeah, it's like, how is that a real thing on our plane of existence?
I know, it's amazing when you see the... Not to sound like a wildlife documentary, but when you see the variety of life on the planet, it's really remarkable.
Yes, when you see the variety of life on the planet.
Especially... I can take clips of wildlife documentaries, but I can't watch extended things because I'm always waiting for the part where the music turns sinister.
And then something gets killed.
And you know the jaguar is going to eat the monkey or whatever.
Yeah. It's the worst, man.
It is. I remember when you and your brother were younger, we took you to a movie called, I believe, The Monkey Kingdom. Or, it wasn't The Monkey Kingdom. It was a documentary about monkeys. It was in the theater.
Yeah.
And yeah, there were all these crazy monkey scenes, like where monkeys tear up a birthday party.
I think it was at home, actually. I think
it wasn't. No. It was in the theater. We went and saw it. It was at the Harper Theater. We went and saw. I don't know. I remember. I remember it's narrated by Tina Fey. Where is she now? But no, yeah, and you.
I mean, I hope. She's at home.
Well, I didn't mean literally. In the more astral sense. Where is she now? She used to be ubiquitous. I used to hear about her quite a bit.
Right.
No,
yeah.
Not so much. She's keeping a low profile. But yeah, no, there's a scene where it was weird. They like set up a camera at this kid's birthday party, and then the kids all went into another room to like open presents or something, and these bunch of like baboons and things came out of the trees and ate the kid's cake and got in the flour that was in the kitchen. All this. This in like
perfect, man.
It was in like Bangalore or someplace. I can't remember, but yeah. But no, I watched the whole thing. It was very entertaining, but you watched the whole time waiting for the...
Yeah, it's like...
okay. Okay. Where's the part where the predator shows up? But yeah, wildlife documentaries can be a mixed bag.
Yeah, they can. And I'm circling back to... I came to hell. I haven't had Oscar Bond. I like with that show. It's like
how's that?
I watched the whole thing in like a month.
Yeah.
And that was like a lot. And now I just rewatch episodes. Just like compulsively, you know.
That's interesting. What do you think it is that grips you out? Because, there's a lot of stuff that you watch. You binge watch once, but you don't always revisit it.
Yeah.
What about King of the Hill makes it rewatchable?
I guess...
There's all kinds of stuff that's fun to watch once, but...
Yeah.
What brings you back?
The world building, I'd say.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that show a disservice, and then I only kind of watched it in bits and pieces, and I think it is the kind of thing you have to sort of watch. I mean, you don't necessarily have to watch however many trillion seasons in a week like you did, but
it's 13 seasons, man.
Yeah, so I think if you watch it over time, I think you get a better sense of the texture. And stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And for you, like, there's like a personal thing too, right? Just the general, like, just the character type. I said, Hank Hill is like, a lot of, just your friends, just like their dads, you know?
Yeah, no, I was born in Ohio, but I grew up in the semi-rural South. And I know King of the Hill is in Texas, which is kind of its own animal.
Right, yes, very much so.
People tend to group the whole southern half of America.
And it's like, no, it's huge, man.
It's the West. I mean, Texas is... It's like Florida. It's kind of its own, it's kind of its own thing.
Oh, Florida.
So, I mean, I didn't grow up in Texas, but I grew up in the semi-rural South with seeing enough guys, like that. And my friends and I were, albeit charitable, one calls creative types. So I witnessed firsthand a lot of the sort of daily friction between, like, my friends and I, dressing all in black and punk stuff and all that, and we'd be sitting in the living room, and somebody's dad would come in his short sleeve button down shirt. And like, what in the hell is going on? You know. So I mean, there was a lot of that. So
yeah.
And there,
I can see that.
There were varying degrees of sympathy, but I saw a lot of what you see in Hank Hill, which is this sort of this weird mix of feeling in control and like he has a handle on the world, but also being able to tell that things are changing.
Yeah.
And that sensibilities are kind of moving away from, it's not all about going to the football game and grilling and things like that. He sees things changing, and he's frustrated with that, but at the same time, he loves his family and loves his kids, and like he wants to kind of meet the culture part way, but he still feels something slipping away. So all which is just to say, I feel like I got a lot of the Hank Hill vibe when I was growing up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
From my friend's dad.
Yeah. I personally found Boomhauer.
Oh yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great. He's in the long continuum of characters that are kind of impenetrable, like the way they talk, like difficult to understand.
Yes.
I don't think it ended up being totally a good book, but do you remember the book called Onion John?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think about this frequently. For one thing.
I'm so sorry.
Well, no, because I remember there's a description of the way that Onion John talks.
It's like a paperback book. I just found that it's like
it's like a young adult thing. It's about a kid who befriends a
homeless,
like a drifter,
just like a Polish man.
Yeah, homeless Polish guy, and it's been a long time since I read the book, but I've always remembered there's a passage in there where he describes the way that John talks, and he says kind of like the individual pieces don't make sense to him, but if he listens, he can kind of pick up the drift, and you pick out things here and there and all that. And I've heard lots of characters that sort of meet that description, and Boomhauer is one of them. It's great. He has this great, on the one hand, he's a bit of a gimmick, because like, oh yeah, that's a guy that talks funny that you can't really understand. But I mean, he has a great deal of humanity, and he has if you give it time, it kind of unfolds. So it's cool.
And I love like out of a couple gags, like I'll just base around that. Let's see. I know. Oh, when he sings, it's like super. I just get clear.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and there's an episode where he sees his mom, and she's talking all just kind of just like a gibberish, and he's like, what? And she puts in just her teeth and talks the same. He's like, oh.
Yeah. No, it's great though, because I mean he's not really a joke character. In the beginning he seems like a joke, but like everything else on that show, it's maybe not a word that you'd apply to the show, but in a way it's a brave show, because it keeps the characters sort of where they are and just lets them develop over time, and it's just really fine-grained thing.
Right, exactly.
Like they never make it where Boomhauer has some big revelation or some many changes and all. There's no real arc to Boomhauer. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. And Bobby Hill is just like an interesting. I just like a type, I would say. Like I've never really seen like. I was like a similar one,
No, he is great. He has it's a kind of depth that's not usually given to kids on TV. Period. Let alone cartoon kids on TV. I mean, he's a real. Again, this is going to sound more grandiose than I need to be, but he's really kind of an exploratory kid, you know.
Right, yeah.
He's trying out lots of different stuff. He knows his dad's version of the world, but you know, he's not really that guy. He's not, you know, Bobby is not athletic. He's not a real take charge, macho kind of guy. So he's always kind of triangulating between wanting the world to make sense to him, but wanting to please his dad and fit into his family.
Yeah, exactly.
And he keeps a real basic sweetness to him, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, whatever he does, he doesn't do it through like being a smart aleck and having catchphrases and you know.
Right.
It's interesting. He bumbles along like a real kid would.
Yes, exactly. And like, and like, yeah, it's an interesting thing because, on like, around the show's time, it runs for like, several, years, I'd say, and so, and so you see him like, I'm not just gonna grow up, like grow. I just kind of until just like I just teen stuff and all the odd changes.
Yeah, and does the show? Do they register the passing of time within the show?
I think.
Does Bobby stay like the same age? Or
Oh no, he doesn't. No,
actually.
Yeah, I think it starts as like 9 and ends at like 13 or 14.
Oh, okay, that much. Wow, I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't. I initially had a strong bias against that show because I felt like it was. I felt like it was trying to humanize a type of person that I often had. Like, you know, I talked about the kind of conservative Southern guys. That were my friends' parents, and I watched that show, and I felt like it was trying to make me sympathize with those kind of guys. And you know, I was young enough and obstinate enough that I wanted no part of that. So I didn't watch that show sort of in protest.
I see.
I can appreciate it more now, but
yeah, of course.
I didn't really give it a fair shake at the time.
Yeah, man, it's an interesting one.
It's interesting when you think about everything that Mike Judge, the guy who created that show. When
yeah.
you think about everything that.
And it's a whole web.
Everything that he's had a hand in, like you know, Beavis and Butthead, which begat Daria.
Yes, Daria, man.
And he did the movie Office Space.
I'm sure it's also so good.
He did the movie Office Space, which is, you know, pretty huge. He did a movie called Idiocracy, which I don't know if you know anything about that. But,
I don't believe I do.
yeah, it was a sort of, it's a comedy thing, but it's sort of a speculative thing about in the future. What's going to happen if dumb people keep being allowed to run things? And it's,
I see.
It's kind of slapsticky, but yeah, he's an interesting dude.
Yeah, it seems like.
Have you, well, I guess you watched Daria, but he didn't really...
Yeah, it's
I guess he created the initial character, but he didn't have anything to do with the Daria show, did he?
It doesn't seem like it, no.
Yeah. So what else is going on? Today is for a few more hours anyways, the Trans Day of Visibility.
Oh, yes. I see you. You are out there.
Through the internet. What was your first encounter with trans folks? Do you remember? Either like reading about, like your first exposure, let's say.
I think. I think as a younger kid, my mom told me about a coworker who was trans.
Oh, okay.
Trans man.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I think mine was probably back in the 90s. It was a sort of a cult movie called Paris is Burning.
Right. Yes.
It's a documentary on the ballroom scene in Harlem, New York, in the 80s, and there were some trans women in there, and it was eye opening. It showed them as fully dimensional, which, you know,
right, yeah.
To the extent that I had any sense of them at all before that, pretty cartoonish.
Yeah.
So it was important.
Yeah, for sure. It's like over here. Oh, it's 9:15, so we should probably. I'll just like a sign off,
Sounds good. Good night, Internet.
Alright, farewell, folks.